20-minute mark. I am Barbara Carr with Fuse Empire. I know actually about half of you that are on the call, so super excited to see you guys again. Christine, Donna, I haven't met you, Dale or Linda, but I hope to give all of you great information, and I'll share my contact information at the end as well. But as we know right now, we're in a crazy time that probably none of us ever expected to live through, right? There's this pandemic that has shut down lots of businesses or has put a lot of businesses on hold. Some of our personal lives have had to be changed. My husband and I actually had a wedding celebration planned for May that had to be moved to August, and we're hoping that we still get to do that in August. But because of all of this uncertainty, it's one of the biggest questions for entrepreneurs and business owners is how can I still continue to not only have my business exist, but how can it make money? And how can I create loyal fans and people who will continue to come back to me even during this crisis? And so one of the things that I've been teaching during this time is how to do that. And so I call this talk, How to Turn Uncertainty into Loyalty and Profits. And I live by example. So everything I'm going to teach you in this talk is things that I have been doing myself and that I continue to do, and I'm seeing great results with. So the first thing is the fact of serving instead of selling. So when all of this started happening, I had just committed to a bill that was going to be about $1,100 a month in expense. And then the pandemic happened. And I thought, how in the world am I going to pay $1,100 a month when nobody's going to be buying anything? And so I first went into panic mode, but then I remembered that business isn't about the sales. The sales are a result of the way that you do business. And I'm a big advocate of relationships. And so one of my thoughts was, how can I serve right now instead of selling? Because I know that the money comes when you serve. And I have a servant heart by nature. And it's just one of the things that I've always done well is to be able to serve people. So the more I thought about it, the more I realized that people aren't used to working from home like I am. They're not used to having to make everything digital like I am. So I decided to use what was normal to me and teach it to other people absolutely free during this time. So I offered a group, a Facebook group, where I was just going to train my small group of fans that I had. I had like a loyal group of 40 to 50 people who followed me everywhere I went. And so I thought those 40 to 50 people were going to be part of this group. I would give them training so that they could keep their business in front of their clients. They would be able to still be visible even during all of this, whether they got sales or not. People would know that they were still in business, they would still exist. And I did this by offering a 30-day training of free marketing ideas. And so I taught that over this course of the 30 days. And over the 30 days, my group kept growing in numbers. And now it's well over 100 people. And this was just last month that this happened. And people have been talking about it. And my videos have been being shared. And people have been reaching out to me that I have no idea who they are. And they'll say something like, oh, I saw this video that you did inside this private Facebook group. I want access to this group. How do I get in? And all of this started with me just serving, giving these free marketing ideas. Now, I want to remind you that as a marketer, I sell all of the things I was giving away for free, right? So when I was giving away like how to build your website or how to do Facebook, that's stuff that people pay me for normally. I was doing it absolutely free during this time. And what ended up happening was people started paying me to do things that I wasn't even really talking about. They'd reach out to me, they'd visit my website because they just loved what I was doing. And then while I was sleeping, I'd wake up to hundreds of dollars of payments and I would be like, whoa, this is really cool. Never even promoted a lot of these things. And people just started buying and buying and buying. In a matter of a week, I made like $5,000 without ever offering anything. And when I looked back on it, I was like, this is because I served. And I had really had no intention of selling anything during that 30-day, but I did give them a heads up that after the 30 days was over, I would give them an offer, right? Because I'm going to give you free for 30 days and then I'll give you an offer. Before I had a chance to give my offer, people kept buying. They're still buying. The challenge has been over, or the 30 days has been over for about 2 weeks now. People are still coming into the group. They're still buying from me. And it all started with giving away something for free. And it wasn't just an ebook or a PDF. It was 30 full days of marketing training. So my first tip is to serve instead of sell. In this pandemic, people do still have money. They are still buying, but they want to buy it from somebody who is serving them, not selling them. So that is the first tip, is to focus your attention on serving your community, your prospects, your clients. Serve, serve, serve. Okay. And then the second thing that I want to touch on is regular acts of kindness. I know that people are all excited about random acts of kindness, especially right now. I've never really been a big fan of random acts of kindness, because I don't think that you should be kind just every once in a while. I think you should always be kind. So my philosophy is regular acts of kindness, daily, weekly, right? You should always be doing something to be kind to somebody else, even if they have no interest in doing business with you, even if they never will, never have done business with you, still focus on being kind to people. And so one example, actually this morning, I was working on my envelopes, not envelopes, my cards. So these are greeting cards that I send out every single week. I send cards to people, thank you cards, get well cards, thinking of you cards, I miss you cards. I send about 20 per week. And I have my children help me with that. My son is 17 and my daughters are 15 and 9. My daughters will come and help me pick out cards for people. I'll say something like, we're going to send a card to this person. Here's a little bit about her. Here's what I want her to know from this card. And then my daughters help me pick out a card that is just right for that person. And then I handwrite the message to them. And then we work together as a team to seal it up and put the stamp and the label and all of that. And the reason I involve them is because it's teaching them to be kind to others regularly, not just randomly. Another thing that I do often, I call kindness calls. I aim to do about 20 of these per week. And what those are is just calling somebody up on the telephone and saying, hey, I'm thinking about you today. I hope you're doing well. Just wanted to reach out and see what you're up to, without the intention of trying to sell to them or trying to tell them what you're doing. Like, forget all of that stuff. I know that in sales, we learned that, these different strategies of being able to call somebody just because and then tell them what we're up to. The kindness calls don't include the tell them what you're up to part. It is literally just to touch base, just to say hi, do something kind for them, without any expectation of them ever saying, hey, Barbara, what are you up to? If they do, fine. But I make it a point that if I call someone on a kindness call and they want to talk business, I ask them to schedule time on my calendar to have that conversation. I don't do that during the kindness call, because I never want it to be construed that that's why I did the kindness call. And then the third tip that I would give, actually, before I go on to the third tip, I want to share one more thing that's new with my kindness, my regular acts of kindness. People have been sharing Amazon wish lists in Facebook groups. You guys may be part of them. I really love this idea because it allows you to bless somebody else with something that you know they want, right? It's one thing to get a card in the mail. Nice, sweet. They might keep it for a couple of weeks and maybe they'll forget that you ever sent it to them. It's nice to pick up the phone and call them. Maybe they'll remember that every once in a while too. But when you buy them something, even if you send them cash, like I get people who tip me. When I was doing the 30-day program and I wasn't selling anything, people would ask if they could tip me. They would send me checks in the mail. They would go to my PayPal. They would send me tips via money, right? Cash of some sort. And while that was great, it didn't feel personable. I did feel appreciated. I definitely felt appreciated. But when it started getting really personal was one of my students noticed that I kept drinking tea, right? I kept drinking something. And he finally said to me, "What are you drinking in that mug?" And I said, "It's blueberry tea. It's my favorite tea in the whole world." And then 2 days later, blueberry tea showed up at my doorstep. Okay, and with an anonymous note. And I was like, okay, well, I know this was from him because because of that. But it became personal then. And it felt more like he truly appreciated me, even more so than the checks that he had sent before. And so if you have access to somebody's Amazon wish list and they've done something good for you, it is generally kinder to gift them something off of their Amazon wish list than cash. Okay, or even a check. Money's always good, but everybody does money. So be different and give them something off their wish list. If they don't have a wish list, or if you don't have access to it, all you have to do is ask them. In fact, I added a special bonus day at the end of my 30 days, made it 31 days, so that I could teach them how to do an Amazon wish list. And then I made it their homework to post their Amazon wish list in the group so that I could gift them on their Amazon wish list anytime I wanted. So you could be strategic about that. And then, so I'm going to move on to number 3 here. The third way that you could keep people loyal and keep profits coming in, even when nobody knows what tomorrow holds, is by staying consistent. Your brand and your marketing messages need to be consistent. They don't need to always be salesy, but they've got to be consistent and congruent with who you are as a person and what your company represents. So for instance, my brand is orange and gray. And you may have noticed my envelopes are the color orange that my logo is, and my, like everything about Fuse, you can see in the Fuse brand. And in fact, if you did any research on me or my company, you will see that everything looks the same. The branding is the same. Even on social media, every Facebook posts are very similar to the Instagram post, the looks of them, right? So you can see one of my posts and you know that's Fuse. You could see my logo in any color and you would still know that it's Fuse. Even if you just saw the F, the circle of the F, it could be in red, you know, whatever, even though I would never do it in a red because that's not my color. But even if somebody, like, for some reason put it in red, you would still relate it to Fuse. So similar with big brands, right? You have like Pepsi. Pepsi, you know, even when they change their color to all blue, right? They've got the blue, white, and red, but even if they change it to all blue, we still know that's Pepsi. We still know their branding. We could spot it from a mile away. We're like, oh, that's the Pepsi truck coming by, right? And so that's what your brand should say. It should, if somebody sees it going past them, whether they're scrolling down Facebook or anything like that, they should be able to acknowledge that that is this brand. Same thing with Gina, I know you're muted, and I hope you're okay with me using you as an example because you're a fantastic example. Gina is one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen in my whole life, and she focuses on makeup and jewelry. And I know now, Gina, you're doing your real estate career, but you're still very fashionable. In fact, I'm not fashionable. Don't ever ask me anything about fashion because that is not my area of expertise. But I look to Gina when I see her, and she's always dressed up and her nails are always done and she always looks a 10, right? Gina is somebody who I inspire to be like in the fashion world, right? And so when she was selling jewelry and makeup, and I don't know if you still do those things on the side, I know you focus on real estate now, but when she was doing those things, it made it easy to buy from her because she looked so great. So it was like, oh, well, I want to look like that. Sure, I will buy that. But if I ever ran into Gina in the store and she was like wearing like pajamas and her hair was messed up and she didn't have makeup on, I'd be completely confused. I've never seen Gina like that. And I'm sure she's just as beautiful even without all that on. But I've never seen her like that because I have this image specifically of who Gina is and what she represents. And she takes very good care of herself, and she makes sure that she shows up as her best every single time she goes out, just in case somebody sees her in public, right? And I know my husband's like that too. He's an attorney. So there's sometimes when we're like wearing like just regular jeans and t-shirt and we're going to run to the store and he throws on a button up and I'm like, babe, we're just going to the store. And he's like, babe, I'm an attorney. If people see me in public, I need to look the part. And so I'm like, okay, makes sense. But I all the time will go out in jeans and a sweater because I work from home, right? Like I'm building an empire from home while I'm raising children. So I dress the part of, while I'm still very professional, I'm also down to earth and laid back and also raising kids while growing this big business, right? And so I want people to see that that you can do it just like I can, and that's the vision that I portray when people see me. In fact, it took me a long time to feel comfortable wearing my comfortable clothes because I felt like people wouldn't take me seriously. I looked way younger than what I am. And so I've even had people say, well, why would I listen to a kid? And it would offend me. And then at one point I was dressing a part that wasn't me. I was trying to wear dresses all the time. And while I did look good, people complimented it. I didn't feel good. I didn't feel like myself. I felt like a fraud. And then somebody finally said to me, Barbara, I don't care what you're wearing. I care about what's in your head. You're giving me value that is going to last a lifetime. That's what I care about. If you're comfortable wearing jeans and a sweater, I don't care. Wear whatever makes you comfortable. Just give me what's in your head. And so that's when it occurred to me that if I were a brand that was selling something like makeup or jewelry or clothing or something like that, I should definitely be more in tune with that. Or if I was a brand that was charging tens of thousands of dollars for what I do, maybe I should wear suits and stuff. But we focus on small businesses, so we keep our prices as low as we can while still being able to pay our employees and our contractors. And so I'm going to end with just sharing with you guys that while you're keeping your brand and your marketing consistent, make sure that it's consistent everywhere. One big misconception with social media is people believe that you need to be on every single social media platform, and you don't. You do not have to be everywhere. You need to be where your target is, and you don't need to post every day. You need to post how often it takes to get to your market. So there's a lot of different misconceptions with social media and marketing. I offer what's called an online presence analysis, where there's two options. I can send you the blank form. You can just go on my website and request the blank form. It will go right to your email. It's a 100-point checklist of how you can make sure you're showing up consistently online so that people see your brand as reputable, so that you'll make more money when people choose to pay you. But the other option is that I actually can review your online presence and tell you exactly how the public sees you, good, bad, and ugly. And then I could give you tips on how to make improvements quickly, easily, and usually for free. And so if you wanted to have information on how to get that, I will just post in the chat the link to where you can sign up to do that. But it's super easy, fusemarketingandmedia.com/OPA. OPA stands for Online Presence Analysis. But you guys, if there's just one thing you take away from this, is that during the pandemic, you're going to be remembered by what you do for other people. Okay, so make sure that every decision you make, no matter how desperate you are for money during this time, every decision you make is about serving other people.
Awesome.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. And I apologize. I walked out of here without actually introducing you properly, Barbara. I so apologize. I felt so bad when I got to the room. I'm like, oh my gosh. Now, most of you do know Barbara. I know her as Barbara Kane. She's now married, and her new name is Carr. But I just appreciate you coming on and giving us some really good tips. I'm sure. I can't wait to see the recording on how we can go ahead and actually continue to do better in our business. I'm sure flourish, and actually you're giving us also some ideas on how we can go ahead and get some critiquing done too, as to where we're at with our businesses and things like that. And this is a perfect time to go ahead and actually be online and be present and actually still continue our businesses absolutely online. And still be able to reach out to people. And I totally agree with you about reaching out to people and how can we serve others. And that's one of my favorite things to do. And so anyways, I just want to thank you, and I apologize for not properly introducing you. You have so much great experience, especially with business owners and everything that you've done over the past. And I've just seen you over the years. I've known you early on. I've seen you over the years perfect your craft and what you do best. And she's helped me tremendously over the years, and I just appreciate every time she does come in and drop some of her great informational things that can just pearls of wisdom just for people. So anyways, go ahead. I didn't know if anybody wanted to go ahead and just make a comment or say something and as to what she did share.
You know, Barbara, I really appreciate you joining us. And I felt that your message was very much on target, and that I do believe, like Julie said, even though I don't know you, you seem to have a wealth of knowledge and information. So I appreciate you coming in and speaking to our group today. I think that you shared some valuable ideas of how to work in this pandemic. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Always appreciate you, Barbara. I've known you for a really long time, and I brought this mug to the occasion. Remember this one?
That's
if today
old
was the
school.
last day of your life, what would you do different about today? Yeah, so I brought this mug for the occasion, and I know Gina's here. We were all in a group with Barbara way back. So I appreciate, and I love to see how much you've grown, and always appreciate your knowledge. Thanks, Barbara.
Thank you, Christine.
Yeah, that was a lot of great information. I love the being kind thing. That really resonates with me, my family. I was raised that way. So I loved it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, I can totally tell you were raised that way, Dale, because you always are a sweetheart. And actually, she's so right about, like Christine just said, knowing her from way back. And actually, Barbara, just congratulations. She just got a master. Is it called a master's in?
Distinguished Toastmaster.
Distinguished Toastmaster.
Nice.
So that is a pretty prestigious place to be, you know, and that's awesome. So I just wanted to acknowledge that as well. So thanks for being on. I don't know, Tina, if you had anything you wanted to share. I didn't know.
I just wanted to say I'm sorry that I was late coming in. I apologize. And I started writing right away. I had the first thing down as serve instead of sell. Is that what the first one was, or was there something? Okay,
Yeah.
I just wanted to double check. I figured, I'll talk to everybody else and see if they can send me some notes. But I think it's so true today. Unfortunately, just in this world that we're in with this pandemic, my children and myself have all noticed people are rude, and you know it's sad, because they can still have their thoughts and feelings, and people can still be respectful, and still, you know, if you're asked to wear a mask, wear a mask. You don't have to be rude. And I think, you know, for all of us in business, you know, just what you said, when we're out in public anywhere, we're going to want to portray ourselves in a way that we have no clue who's going to be a potential customer or someone that could potentially help us in any sense or, you know, way. And why would we want to be anything but kind, right? At all times. So I loved your comment about not doing the random acts of kindness, but the regular, I think you said regular, right? Acts of kindness. Right. And so I love that, and think even now more so than ever, we need that. We really do, because there are people that are just really worked up, and we need to all be patient with them and be kind. So thank you so much. It was wonderful, Barbara. Really great.
Thanks.
Yeah, and I would like to say thank you, Barbara, for like I've been on your fan wagon for quite some time, kind of popping in here and there at events that you host. And like you said, like I felt like you and I kind of joined our journey like when we were younger, and we were just new to business, and we were doing it all wrong, pouncing on people with our products and our business, like, oh, you just got to have it. And we just didn't know how to be in business and how to be a businesswoman. And you've been so impressive, because you have been so laser focused on your business and your growth, and just the freedom and the ability that you have to speak so openly and so freely. And I feel like it's because you've always been such a good student, and you've always taken in just as much knowledge as you can. So that's why it's so easy for you to give back, because you have it all inside of you, and you really are. I see like groups that you're putting together, you know, spiritually and even with your business. And that alone, to teach people to have that balance and to focus on people having spiritual importance, but also having the importance of, because we know that we do have to have the tangible things in life too. So finding that balance. And then, yeah, what an advantage you have right now to have that virtual experience that everybody is like scrambling to, you know, figure out, like, what do you mean? I don't know how to even log on to Zoom. And you're like a master of all these crafts. And I can only imagine what kind of success you're able to gain from this time, because you know, you know it. I mean, this is your world, and now we're all stepping into it. But also, just, I mean, this world, like, and your message is my message. Like, I love it. Like, we're like kindred spirits, because I feel like we have to be a servant. You can't be a business. You can't have a business, be a business owner without having that servant's heart. So, and especially I feel like the world forced us to take a time out and to see what's really important, and to say, like, literally, I see families driving, riding on their bikes past my windows constantly. And I'm like, I love how, even though it's in horrible circumstances, but I love how the world forced us to take a time out and say, hey, remember family, remember love, remember relationships. These are what are important. Your work and your career will always be there, but remember the important things. I'm going to force you to remember the important things, and that's our family and relationships. And that's why I value our relationship as friends. And I'm going to continue to fan out, and you know, if you're speaking somewhere, probably pop up and do a cameo. But I love your growth, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, Barbara, I've known her, I don't know if I'd call it a long time. It's been what, 4 or 5 years now, but she has definitely been a servant. I'm a member of the SCORE group, which is nationwide, and Barbara has come to our SCORE group in Valpo, and oh my gosh, I don't even know how many workshops she's put on for free. And the workshops are always full. Very, very good response. You know, we talk about it when we go back into SCORE. Everyone there just loves her. And I don't know if that's where she met her husband, Isaac, but he is a member of our SCORE group, and they're the cutest couple together. I have followed her pictures on Facebook when they went off and got married, and she is definitely a person that definitely serves. And I know she's a very good Christian, and to me that speaks loudly. So I wish you continued success, Barbara. You have really, really grown since